Hello and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Shaggy Stan's Plush Pubic Pillows. It's about time for Christmas shopping because, let's face it, there's Christmas decorations up in some store right now. So that means you better start getting your shit together for gifts, you deadbeat. There's good news. Shaggy Stan's new line of plush pubic pillows are already on sale for the holiday season. This is the perfect I forgot to get you something or this relationship doesn't matter to me anymore gift. Nothing says I couldn't care less quite like a super comfortable and expertly engineered pillow designed to provide optimal neck support while comfortably cradling your head with a lovingly crafted fabric surrounding washed and conditioned pubic hairs. It works pretty damn well in the winter too because we all know how well that type of hair can hold heat. It also keeps its shape overnight because as much as we try to wash that stuff, it just bounces back like the first day it showed up at your 10th birthday party. Do yourself a favor and head over to pubicpillows.com and pick up your plush pubic pillow today. Enter the code MINDGAP at checkout to get a free pubic hair stuffing refill from Shaggy Stan himself. This week's episode is brought to you by Elephant & Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and tasty food. Elephant & Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious-ass food for you to chew on while you watch some fucking sports. Come on down to Elephant & Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. It's a super-duper episode this week as Justin and I are joined not by one, but two guests. The nerdy dungeon master Emilio Gonzalez and his equally fun and nerdy wife Clarissa Oquendo stopped by to chat with us about Dungeons & Dragons and even helped get Justin a little hot and bothered about the prospect of playing a character. Then, thanks to a suggestion from the Twitch follower SnoTrag, we tried to decide what were the requirements for a movie to fall into the horror genre. Good news! This is basically the new what is a sport debate. Hooray! Sit your butt down, get out your 20-sided die, and check underneath your beds for any ghouls and ghosts as we get ready to explore episode 217 of Mind Gap Podcast. Mind Gap Podcast.
That's a quadruple entendre right there.
Yes, that means 4.
Does that work also the same way like a double negative where it kind of like makes it positive, or is it all just...
Oh no, it's multiplier.
Oh, it's a multiple? Okay.
Yeah, quadruple entendre. It means
Not everyone can do it.
Exactly.
So the
it means Olympic it fits in 4 holes. That's what it means.
The Olympic Committee is going to ban it.
What? I almost did a spit take.
I was hoping that would get you.
No,
did
I
you
would
hear about
all over your shit? That's what it would.
Fuck it. Target's just down the road.
Almost did it again.
One of the soon enough. No, did you hear about the Simone Biles thing? Apparently, she's so good. She can do like stuff that other gymnasts can't do, and so the Olympic Committee's like, we won't score you on that because no one else can do it, so it's not fair.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. I know she's like the most decorated gymnast to date, but they're saying she's so good that they can't score her?
Yes, they're like, there's certain tricks that you're doing that other people can't do, and so it's not fair because they can't compete against it.
Well, then that seems like she wins.
That's what I think.
I mean, in every other sport,
she shows up,
it's
give me
like,
my fucking medal.
That's
it's
what
like,
I think.
Oh, I can't guard Michael Jordan. I guess he can't play. I guess those points don't matter because we can't guard him. Go fuck yourself. What the fuck does that even mean?
Means exactly what I said it means.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It makes me very angry.
I'm glad I could start us off on the right foot.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Emilio, Clarissa, thank you so
What's
much for joining us.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
You guys seem very comfortable, which makes me very happy. Very like you're willing to open up, which is going to be great. Clarissa, I hear you want to talk about butt stuff.
What?
I believe that's what we're talking about today.
Different positions.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Toys,
Nice.
everything.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you.
It's in the pink one.
See, they think they can embarrass me, but they can't.
No, that's not what it is. It's just like he told me that's what you want to talk about. Is that not what you want to talk about?
Yeah,
Cool.
all the time. We should have an open dialogue.
Cool.
Maybe some demo. I don't know.
All right,
no.
so
Not it.
Twitch.
So-
It's about to get real weird.
So, butt stuff for you. Are you cool? Like tonguing around the side, rim jobs, things like that. Like, is that your
Tossing
thing?
salads.
Yeah,
Rusty trombones.
He's
et cetera, et
very
cetera.
vanilla. He's
Yeah.
very
Or-
vanilla.
Are you very much like
you just-
change my die sort of situation?
That's a bit much.
Role playing, getting it in there.
That's
you
a
know?
bit much.
I'm your baby. No.
No children involved. That's,
No children.
That's a totally different. Like,
You're the child.
No,
like
I'm
you-
aware of
you
what we're
play
going.
the
No, it's
child?
like you're playing the child. You're playing a character like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's just
that's
that's
not
what you
allowed
got.
in my game.
Dungeons and Dragons in the bedroom. That's what we're talking about.
You see,
D&D
that's
and the
type of
Bee.
roleplay that me and you like.
D&D the VR. Woo!
It's a whole new game.
It sounds like a horrible morning radio show. It's D&D in the VR. You don't think you could do that? It's like roll the dice.
This week's
Roll for initiative.
If it's in that one, we have some very troubling situations before.
I rolled a natural 20. That's a critical.
I don't like the way you're looking at me right now. I don't appreciate this.
You know, like the shrugs that I'm
Like,
doing?
it's enough
are
that
getting
like at the
critical.
office we're this close.
Yes.
It's
This is about
Something
yeah.
going
This is
on.
real. This is very visceral. Very.
This is as real as it gets.
This is why I
Emilio.
say Doug is your work wife.
I am.
I thought Kyle was my work life.
No.
No.
What am I,
Kyle
like a
won't do the
polyamorous-
butt
We
stuff.
moved on already. Or maybe
Talk to
he
Kyle.
would.
Yes.
Kyle, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misrepresent.
Yes.
I apologize, Kyle.
Yeah.
He's not here to say his truth.
Yeah, he's
so,
not
you
here
know,
to
it's-
defend himself, so
very
it's fine.
true,
We can
yeah.
just throw him under the bus.
That's on me.
It's usually a short bus too. Either way.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Let's unpack that.
No.
So, Emilio, you are a dungeon master.
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons. Clarissa,
Yeah.
you play as well. In fact, for the listeners, if you've heard me tell the tales of Dungeons and Dragons, these are the two folks that are also part of the group. So,
Hi.
yes, it's been very fun having you teach me the ways of Dungeons and Dragons and playing along. So, thank you for that. As part of that, you had a wonderful idea to kind of like come over to Justin
Yep.
and say, Justin,
Butt stuff?
Old buddy.
All right.
so
Roll for initiative.
roll
Yeah,
for
real.
initiative. So,
I don't know what that means, but I'm into it. Yes, and.
So it's kind of like we were thinking about trying to find a way to help you create a character.
All right.
Not a full-fledged character because
I've
that
got
would,
one.
It would take. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got a character? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me what your character is.
Well, he's a mage. He's chaotic good.
Okay. I appreciate that you have an alignment.
So far, we're up.
We're all right.
He rolls nothing but 20s.
That's not how this works.
I was almost there.
You had me at
Edge
at alignment.
So close.
And you done fucked up.
So if you were going to create a character, what kind of character do you think you would make?
Chaotic good mage.
Cool. So do you would seriously go with someone who casts spells, or would you kind of be the guy that like wants to smash stuff? Do you want someone that'd be sneaky?
Is there a shit stirrer, like a jester, or someone who likes to cause pull the strings and watch the fucking world burn?
What's
Arcane trickster.
Arcane trickster?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a rogue subclass.
Okay. And what would be like the
That sounds
best?
right.
What would be the best race? Do you think that would
Halfling.
Halfling. Yes. You'd be like a Frodo Baggins.
Yep.
Can I be a gelfling?
No.
Because I'm into that.
Well, I'm
So
sure there
here's
is.
the thing. I'm sure if you Google it, there's probably like race stats and everything like that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
Okay.
But
could be.
Gelfling aren't really tricksters. They're just terrible at
Halfling?
everything. The halfling. So I'm saying the Gelfling wouldn't be
Right.
good at.
Well, they
arcane
can't hold a sword. We know that. for
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
They fail at every. Yeah.
Fuck you, Ran. Yes. Okay. So I'm a halfling. What is that?
So like
You're a
Frodo
hobbit. Yeah, it's a hobbit.
from Lord of
Awesome.
the Rings, a hobbit. Yeah,
All right,
you're basically
yeah.
a hobbit. You're like short little dude.
Yeah.
And
So I'm an arcane. What is it again?
Arcane trickster.
Arcane trickster halfling.
yes.
Right.
So essentially, to tell us what's the arcane trickster? I don't know anything about him.
So essentially, what they are is it's a rogue subclass that kind of dabbles in like trickery and stuff like that. So instead of like a rogue, they're the stabby type. Instead of being all stabby, it's tricking you to like. They have like major illusion where they can have you like trick you into like falling off of a cliff because I see a bridge in front
You're
of
basically
me.
Loki.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a
Yeah.
shorter version of Loki.
Shorter
So
version of
can I make you? So I can make you see what I want you to see.
Yep.
So there's an element of magic there.
Yes.
I'm into this.
Yeah. So it kind of gives you your mage thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wouldn't be chaotic good because
Oh no, I would be terrible.
you'd be chaotic dick because yeah.
Chaotic dick.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, back to the butt stuff.
Exactly. I'm bringing it all back to the butt.
Can you imagine if someone was like, dude, that guy's got a real chaotic dick? Like, what would that be like? It's just like
Red,
something
just like
red.
bumpy, yeah.
So
Like-
you guys went out last night. How was it? You know, it was good, He's got a chaotic dick.
Yeah, like what would that? It's just as you said, it's just red.
It's just red.
It's red.
Just red, angry looking. It's got bumps on it. It's like they're kind of spikes, but they're not pointed enough. So it's like
They're nubblies. So
Yeah.
it's like
little nubbles. Yeah,
little nubbles.
little nubbles. I said it.
Yeah, I feel like it'd just be misshapen. You know, like, but everything about the person is perfect, right?
Yeah.
You know, to you, like, oh my
Naturally.
gosh.
Instead of it like curving up or left or right, it curves down a little bit. It's weird.
It splits in two.
So-
Yeah.
yeah, like only at the tip though.
Right.
Like just like the head
Yeah,
parts.
it's like a forked tongue. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds painful.
That sounds chaotic. Yes.
You're damn right. That's a chaotic dick right there.
That it is.
Oh, I love it. So you would play a character that obviously would be mischievous because that's who you are.
Yes.
It'd be very much like playing yourself. You'd be just really like,
You gotta play what you know, right?
that's a good way to start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play
I
what you
feel
know.
like I think when we played the what the fuck was it called? The tabletop simulator.
Oh, yeah.
With Sam.
Yeah.
And
For a half second.
For a half second, and Sam and I wouldn't stop flipping the table.
Yeah.
You know,
I disabled that in our game.
I feel like,
wisely
again,
so.
yeah,
But for the record, you can trust me. I will never do that. just
I
want you to know
disagree
that.
entirely. I know he's a person.
No, I'm not fucking over a game that we're having. What we do is we save it and then we flip it. That's how
Bet.
we do it. You bet that I will flip it over.
Yep.
Okay, give me the ability. Let me see how.
I am God here.
Okay, then how am I supposed to win the bet?
That's the point.
So talk to me about being a dungeon master. It feels like
Feels like a god
do you
complex.
not get to make decisions at home,
Well, that's
Interesting.
Clarissa?
I do.
Of the decisions that are made, if you had to break it down by percentage, how many do you make versus how many does he make?
You do not make two.
It's not even percent. It's just decisions I'm allowed to make.
You make two. You get two a day.
No.
No,
Like two a month. That I was
Monthly.
saying no.
two a month.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
you
feel
can't
like
waste them?
it's pretty.
It's kind of like a menstruation
it's
cycle,
pretty
except it comes back twice a month.
50-50.
Okay.
As in 50%, I'll make it, and 50% I'll consider him to make when I was playing.
Oh, okay.
No.
Interesting.
No, for real, we are pretty 50-50.
Pretty even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good team element.
Wasn't like that in the beginning, but it's
No?
okay. No.
What was it like at the beginning?
I made all the decisions.
Yeah. So how did it
Until
come
he's
to?
like, let me make some.
So was this like crucial conversation? You know, some feedback.
This was long before all of that. this was back when I had retail experience where
Yeah,
it's
we
not
were like
this stuff.
in
Yeah.
our 20s.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, I'm still in my but yeah,
Yeah.
younger 20s.
Yeah.
Because I'm an old fart. Shut up.
What are you? 29.
32.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm 36. So
I like how you had to stop for like 30.
I think I was like,
That's what
carry the
happens at
one.
older age.
Yeah, I know. I'm
So it's going
getting
away.
there.
Yeah.
So how did you get to the point where it was 50-50? Like, what was just like good conversations?
No, I just put my
Team
foot
vote.
down and said, you need to let me make some decisions.
Okay.
It was
The
it was
D
new
of my
for
disc
all of
thing.
us.
Yeah, D came out.
Yeah, you're a D.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, chaotic D.
chaotic? He's a CD now, and he's not thrilled about
I'm
it
not happy about it.
because he went from being a D to now becoming a CD. So.
What am I again?
But that fits though because it's chaotic dick.
Oh,
CD.
I see.
C
Ah,
does
did
not
there.
stand for chaotic, but that's cool. We'll roll
it
with
does
that.
now.
We'll roll a
Chaotic
20
dick.
for that.
Just straight 20.
Roll a
Am I
20.
Dungeons and Dragoning?
Yeah, I'm
Am I
doing it.
doing it?
You're doing it right.
Yeah, doing it right.
Yeah. It's just also just shenanigans at that point.
Yeah,
That's
I
all it
would.
is.
I actually would really love to play a game of Dungeons and Dragons with you because
Yeah.
I think
I
you-
hard disagree.
No,
You would hate it.
No. Because I think that would be a lot of fun because everything you would do, it would always just be like, all right, roll, let's see what happens. Because I think you would make the story really interesting.
So what's really funny about that is I was thinking about that.
yeah.
Do you guys want to? I will happily DM a one shot
Oh.
that you can stream if you want to do it.
Oh. Okay.
I think
you
I know
wanted
what
it.
that means, and I'm excited about it.
So
So what does it mean?
it's me flipping the table. That's what that's going to be. It's going to be a real life tabletop simulator. Fuck this. I'm done. Yeah. Which is very similar to how our current sessions go. So
Yeah, it's very fun.
How many people would we need to do this?
I could literally just do it with two people.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot easier with two people because then you don't.
It'll be quicker, that's for
It'd be a
sure.
lot fucking quicker. Because the game that we currently have has 8 people, give or take,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And that's like the max that even the player, like the Dungeon Master's Guide says to have, just because
Okay.
it gets really stupid after that.
Does it get hard to? Because you're having to remember what is going on with everybody,
Right,
So it's
yeah.
just too much organization.
Way too much. So then you end up having to kind of, improvise people's if they're not there to improvise that character. And there was one point where I ended up playing like 2 or 3 characters
Oh,
at
it
one
was
point.
awful.
Where
On
at
top
first
of
I was
all the
like,
enemies?
yeah, on top of all the enemies, because you're the dungeon master, you're the guy pulling the strings.
Right.
So like when you have an encounter where there's like 5 enemies, well, guess what? You're having 8 characters to roll for because you have the 3 additional characters that you have.
And you have to know like how to play them. So
Yes.
like knowing what abilities to use,
Yep.
what should they do, and you're trying to play it fair too. You're like,
Right.
all right, so I'm no longer the enemies. I'm now this
Right.
cat rogue,
Right.
and I gotta be like, how am I supposed to play them? What should I do? And you gotta
Right.
know enough about it to be able to play them in their stead, which is really difficult.
Yeah, it really is sometimes. I mean, it's kind of like being able to peek behind the curtain and then be able to manipulate that kind of stuff, but it's still really difficult to like, because there were some times where I would be really descriptive of like, okay, so you go and you run up to this bandit and then you slice him diagonally across chest, blood spurts out, it covers your armor, that kind of thing. To the point where it's like, okay, well this hits, so he dies. This hits, he dies. Like after a while, it's just
kinda
like
speed
I'm
running
just
it, yeah.
I'm going through the motions, just trying to get through this shit because I want to shoot myself.
It
Yeah.
started with like,
Yeah.
all right, how do you want to do it? And he would tell us like, basically that meant we killed the character. So like, how
Right.
do we want to kill him? And we get descriptive now. It gets to
Yeah.
the point where it's like, they're fucking dead. That guy's gone. Move on. What's the next one?
Just delete.
They're dead. Cool. We're going
They're
on.
dead, go,
Because it just battle takes a long time.
Well, there's been times where like a couple of the combat scenarios, which usually you're supposed to run 1 or 2 combat scenarios per session. Sometimes we run one scenario for like 2 or 3 sessions.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's like looking at their sheets and stuff, and I try and be like, hey, like, okay, you know, Doug, you're up with your character, Clarissa, you're up with yours after him, like, so that way they know, so they can look at their sheet to kind of go through that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to do that when because we all live kind of far from each other, so we do it over Skype. So like everyone's trying to listen in on what everyone else is doing, so they can strategize a little better. So it's a little difficult in that regard for them to kind of know what they're going to do with their abilities. So that's how the combat ends up getting a little bit longer than it should.
But one of my favorite moments so far, let me paint a picture for you. So we were at an inn, all right? This is one of the things Emilio loves. This is his favorite moment in the game so far. So we were at an inn.
I feel like I'm going to disagree, but okay.
And we were sleeping, and we got ambushed by a wizard.
Oh, yeah.
And a bunch of
Yeah.
people. And so they set the inn on fire.
No.
And we woke up, and
That was my first
everyone
mistake.
Ran downstairs, and
No, you didn't. You didn't run downstairs.
well, we got downstairs.
Yeah, at the end
Eventually.
of the
Well,
combat,
some
after
people
like the
went
majority of the guys were
downstairs.
dead.
The kitty cat lady went downstairs.
Yeah, because I was playing her.
Yeah, exactly. So we went downstairs, and the building's on fire and everything like that. And then, let's see. So 2 things happened. One, Clarissa cast this spell out the front of the door
hate
that
that
basically
spell so
created like, what was it, rocks? Or
Thorns.
Thorns.
Invisible thorns.
Invisible thorns. And
I love this spell.
so that happens, and
It's really effective.
And then, so what happened was
So upset.
Emilio had to roll for basically like perception for each of the enemies that were coming in through this one door, and he rolled terribly on the perception. So these guys would literally run through the thorns and die.
Yep.
So there's
And-
like bodies dangling.
Yes.
And
So you can imagine it in front of an inn. It's burning down. These guys are just kind of like scarecrows, just
That's
got out. They're
awesome.
bleeding out.
Absolutely.
And you would think, like in a logical sense, like if there's 4 of us here and one of us goes and dies there, it's like, okay, fuck that, I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
That's not how D&D works.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't know what's happening. So when they roll perception checks to see, hey, can they figure it out? They fail. Okay. Well, he just died. Who gives a shit? He's probably just stuck.
It's also
Let me
dark,
run in.
so they
Yeah.
can't see as far
Right.
either. So they're like banzai, and they run. They're like, "Wah!" And they just like get impaled.
That's it.
And like 1 or 2 guys make it through, and they're like limping through
out
the
of like
door.
6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
It was
a ton of
not good.
guys.
It was multiple rounds. It's like, all right, roll for perception.
And then the damage was like insane because I got like 3
And
dice
not-
rolls. Yeah.
Yep.
And not only did like they get wounded, but they still didn't know what was happening. So then they're like,
Yeah.
I'm going forward. And then they go and they get even more wounded, but they still weren't able to perceive what was happening. So all that happened. And then as the wizard, Emilio teleported up to the 2nd floor because other people were going downstairs, but it was myself as a paladin and a warrior. And he was like right next to the 2 of us. I'm like, all right, we're going to beat the shit out of him. But then I was like, wait, why would he teleport up here to do this?
Charm person.
And he tried to mind control us, basically.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my god, if he pulls this off, he's going to mind control us, and then we're going to go down and we're going to backdoor everyone that's on the stairs and beat him to death because they were all a bunch of squishy characters.
Yep.
But he tried twice and he failed twice, so he wasn't able to mind control us. So we
Super disappointed.
So we were able to smash him. It's like it was a tough night. So
It was.
It was. I think I called it was like the Thornder Dome is what I called it because
Yeah.
they were trying to run through the thorns
Yeah.
and they didn't make it through. And he was just like, God damn it. It was a beautiful moment for us because we
Very
were like,
upsetting.
we survived, and he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have. Like,
So it's all of you versus you.
more or less, yeah.
Well, okay, so let me put a pause there because that's a common misconception within Dungeons and Dragons is that it's the players versus the dungeon master. That's not how it's supposed to go.
Okay.
It's all a cooperative game. We're all collaborating together to kind of get to a goal of hopefully completing a campaign because most campaigns don't even get past like level 5.
Okay.
Generally, either the group falls apart or hey, I'm good. We get to a really good narrative stopping point and that's where it ends, kind of deal. So it's all just a collaborative storytelling narrative kind of thing. So just want to put that out there. It's not a
Check
versus
yourself.
thing.
Lest you
sounds-
risk yourself.
Well, it's a
Like, you
common
really
misconception.
wanted
Like
all of them
really,
to die.
No one. You don't win in Dungeons and Dragons. Like that's not the goal. It's to have fun and kind of just basically roll some
I
dice.
played a watered down version of that. It was like a board game version of Dungeons and Dragons that's on Tabletop Simulator.
Right.
And it was the same thing. Like I was the dungeon master, and it was a way more simple version. There's 4 pre-created characters and stuff like that. But my whole thing was I knew where the traps were. I knew where the monsters were.
Right,
so they'd
yeah.
open the door, and my goal was I wasn't trying to. I
to
wanted
get
them to win.
It's not a gotcha thing.
Yeah, I wanted them to win, but it had to be a challenge. It had to be interesting.
Right.
You're kind of playing the characters themselves of like, oh, here comes these bugbears or whatever, and
Right.
they're coming to smash these heroes and stuff like that. And my thing is like, I hope it's enjoyable, but it also has to be challenging.
Right.
That's half the
and
battle.
and that's the balance you have to kind of strike with D&D is like you want your players to actually have fun and be able to like find these traps and find the treasure and kill the guys and stuff like that, and hopefully not be murder hobos. But then you also have the whole thing of like you still want to craft a really good narrative for them as well, and you have to make it challenging. So it's really kind of hard to do a delicate balance of that. Thankfully, it's the module that we're doing right now because we're doing the module first, and then we're going to move into the actual campaign that I'm designing.
Okay.
That's when the homebrew stuff kind of comes in, and so homebrew essentially is stuff that I make up. We have house rules and stuff like that. So through the player's handbook, like drinking a potion is an action, but if you're drinking it yourself, I roll. It's a bonus action, so you can still do something.
Okay.
But if you want to feed it to someone else who's like dying or whatever, then that's your action.
Okay.
Which that's like a
That's
common.
your turn,
That's your turn. That's a common house rule
Okay.
thing. So
That was
Yeah.
the hardest thing though, because I've played through the module once before with another group.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're gonna die. They're all gonna die. They don't know what's behind there, but I know what's behind there. We're screwed.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you should have done that. It's okay.
and you've done a great
And so-
job, like,
trying to stay back and be like, guys, you might want to prepare for something.
yeah.
well, you mentioned dying, which the most hilarious part was that you and
I did.
someone else's character,
in a glorious way.
you guys
It's
died,
okay.
which
I've told
was
that story
hilarious.
Drunk,
multiple times
stolen
on
a
here.
horse.
Oh, you have? Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
then I won't
I
regale
told you,
everybody.
the
But
ones that
yeah.
are like, we stole a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dead.
And they got
That's
killed.
okay.
You.
And so
Interesting.
that's one of those that's one of those instances where as a dungeon master I was kind of like, hey, the guy's like telling you get the fuck out of
I mean,
here.
that gives you a lot of chances.
I give you a lot of chances, and then it's kind of like at the point where it's like, no, we want to go here, we're doing this, and it's like, okay, roll for persuasion, you fail. All right, he grabs a sword, like roll initiative, like
Yeah.
you got to be realistic.
Fight's about to happen.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, that's what.
Every time you and I disagree, I'm just going to scream at you, roll for initiative!
Like, dude. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
My other real quick story that I loved was
Yeah.
recently. There was, I can't remember exactly what was going on, but there was a collection of characters, like enemies, and there's a guy whose character's name's Hot Daniel. He's half demon.
I like it.
And he came in. He used this spell called Color Spray.
Yeah,
And he comes in and he blasts all of these guys with colors, and it's like he's rolling and he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, they're all dead. And it's like, that spell doesn't do damage. That spell just blinds people. So it was like this whole thing where he's like, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, yeah, he just does this. And the way I envision is he kicks in the door or whatever, and he's like, color spray, and like glitter shoots out of his hands and rainbows.
he's very flamboyant. It's very great.
He's just like, wow.
Very Jubilee-esque.
Yeah,
And-
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Except with even worse and doesn't do any damage.
Right, unlike Jubilee, who's one of the most powerful mutants, moving on.
I mean,
Yes.
she does damage, but
A lot of damage, moving on.
okay. Anyway, I refuse to accept that. But he came in, he shot all that. He's like, well, you blinded that guy, and you blinded that guy, and you blinded that guy, but yeah, you didn't do any damage. He's like, wait, what? What? He's like, thumbing through it. He's like, fuck. So it's just like this thing that played out in my head. He's just like, yes,
And nothing.
and then nothing. Everyone's like, whoa. like, I'm blind.
He burst in like the front man to an 80s rock band.
Exactly.
And everyone went,
pyros and stuff went off. He's like,
But they couldn't see, so it was just kind of like
I'm blinded by his awesomeness. But that was all that they
but
got.
that was it. Yeah.
that was it.
That was it. It was amazing. And he was just like, God damn it.
I think we need to do this.
I think it would be great.
I think we need to get Vellucci for sure.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe Sam in here.
Oh, my God.
You're saying names and I recognize them, and I'm not okay.
Right?
It's sad. It's not sad. It's unnerving.
Yeah. I think we should start with a one shot with you and I, because
Yeah?
I think that would be good.
All right.
Because A, it'd be easier to coordinate,
That's fair.
and B, it would be quick.
I listened to none of the last 20 minutes, so yeah.
And it would be quicker,
Yeah.
so that I think you and I think that'd be fun. Him as an arcane trickster.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be really interesting.
So considering that,
Justin pushes Doug off the edge. Campaign over.
well, so let's go ahead and go for that. So obviously, you're not going to name your character after you.
Right.
You have to go ahead and choose a fantasy name. So what would be your
Nitsudge Lincoln Denaldenarts.
spell that for me?
Take my name and spell it backwards.
Damn it. Okay.
I love how you pronounce that again. Say it one more time for me.
Nitsudge Lincoln Denaldenarts.
You won
That's
this
a
round.
perfect arcane trickster.
Yeah, that is. That really is. Well, not only the arcane trickster, but like a halfling name in general.
Exactly.
Like, because they're really like that ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to a WoW like name generator. Here's my race gnome. Boom. Here. And
Okay.
it's a bunch of vowels and consonants.
You need bananasness.
Yes.
Incidentally, that's my pet.
Yes.
Bananasness.
I'm assuming this is a pet.
Narfle.
I'm just gonna leave that.
It's a pet narfle.
Probably for the best.
Good.
He's a trickster, remember.
Is this another name for your dick? That's just,
Yes.
okay. So his version of color spray will be he just flips his dick out. And
There you go.
Because on the dick train, Hot Daniels has a spell called Magic Missile, and we've defined that his Magic Missile, like you can make it form into whatever kind of shape you want. He chose dicks.
Yes.
I love
Specifically, was it purple dicks or was it like a few? Like it was like a weird like.
All I know
neon
is that
color?
he does finger guns and they shoot out of his fingers.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he
I
goes
made
pew
this.
pew.
He's like, pew, 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 and they're all dicks.
So he says that.
I like Hot Daniel. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hot Daniel's all right.
The funniest part is that he says it, and then his fingers, when he shoots the spells off, also
Yeah.
go pew pew. So it's like pew 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 pew.
Yeah. And
great.
then it's like, oh, and he doesn't kill someone. It's like, but it left a mushroom stamp on their head, like or whatever.
Yep.
For the next 48 hours, they are going to have a penis-shaped bruise on them. Moving
Disadvantage.
on.
And the worst part is the disadvantage.
Yeah.
The worst part is like if they get killed by it, you know, because it's just like,
And you just have a dick just flopping in your chest like that.
Imagine
it literally just stays there like this.
it's
Just flopping the entire time.
just trying to
Yeah.
get inside. That's all it wants to do.
I like
That's
it.
all it ever wants to do.
I like it. I don't know about you guys, but I like it.
I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I allowed it, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing I love is because you're creative enough and you're silly enough that the mechanics obviously are pretty something I'm sure you'll be like, okay, now what do I do once we get into it? But I think the role play aspect of it, I think you'd have a blast with.
Well,
I think it'd be fun.
That's what I allow you guys to do is
Yeah.
the whole thing when you kill an enemy, it's like, how do you want to do this?
Yeah.
I let you describe what you want to do to the person. So,
Yeah.
like, exactly. So, you're looking,
Yes.
yeah, this is going to be a lot of dicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of narfing.
Chaos.
Okay?
What's the best way you've killed someone?
I think was it like balls to
Yeah, she
Yeah.
Candyman somebody.
yeah
With,
Stem to sternum?
Yeah. Stem to sternum, yeah.
yeah.
What was it, though? Was it the ice knife or
I think so.
your
I don't know,
scimitar?
something.
Something. It was some sort of
Either
like.
this campaign or the one previously. I know for sure that was my first thing. I was like,
Oh, that was the previous.
neck.
That was the previous campaign. Yeah.
yeah.
Dick to neck.
My dick.
The other was
My
like
neck.
ice shards.
Yeah.
Ice shards in your chest and you like exploded out.
Yeah, and their chest bursted open. Yeah.
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 Very well done.
Yeah. That's
It's pretty versatile. And then you already know about the murder boners.
I've heard about him.
Yeah.
Quinn Shadowbane hates goblins in such a way that when he gets going, the murder. Pretty
Oh,
nerdy.
what was the original name for your character?
Oh, I don't even fucking remember.
We ended up making ended up making fun of it, and then you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna change it now."
I can't remember what it was.
What is it again?
Quinn Shadowbane.
Shadowbane?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
So Quinn Shadowbane is like in a movie.
Ghosts.
All right,
I
cool.
was just about
Yes,
to say
it
that.
We summoned Quinn Shadowbane!
Stop saying his name. You
Oh,
said it 10
no.
times already. It's like Beetlejuice.
That's if you have a movie within a movie you're watching, like you're watching a movie and they go to see an action movie, it's going to be a one starring Quinn Shadowbane.
It's kind of like
that is that movie character.
It's kind of like Last Action Hero.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, it's Last Action Hero.
I love it. I love everything about it. Yes, he's he likes murder, and he gets excited, and it's like when he does damage, he's like 40% blood flow, like it's just as it goes along.
I think it's always over 50%.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's always over half.
Depends on what he's killing.
And again, if it was a video game, then that would be as soon as he murdered someone, it'd be 40% blood flow.
That's accurate.
That booming voice.
Exactly.
Voice
it's
of
like,
God. Yeah.
continue to kill to get to 100%.
It's like when you play Halo and get like kill streak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
70% blood flow. You're gonna pop.
It's both a benefit and a curse,
Right.
Yeah.
Because it further enrages him and clouds his mind. But at some point he's going to lose control,
Right.
And then he'll hit anybody.
And then he just
We should make him multi-class into Barbarian for at least a dip.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be good.
A barbarian, yeah.
Because Barbarians have rage that they can like inflict so long as they keep taking damage, they get an additional like D6 or D4 to their like attack bonus. So like okay, so
He's like, sure, yeah. I get
Doug's nodding, and I'm just gonna
I'm
say
just,
yes.
I'm
to
just
that.
Yes,
looking at
and-
him. I'm like, just watching Justin
Agreed.
go.
north and
Yeah.
south, north and south.
Yep.
Yes.
But yeah, so
Dick to neck.
there you go. There we go. Just like the front to backers. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's a new one.
Yes.
You can add that to the Mind Gap lexicon. Yeah,
I love it. How amazing.
it's great. But yeah, so you get an additional bonus. Like if you hit like for 4 damage, you get like a +2, so that gives you like 6 damage instead of the usual 4. So Barbarians always get that. They get to roll twice on like strength checks and stuff like that. So.
Get your rage on, Doug.
Yeah,
I
right?
feel like that is very you.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, it depends.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It depends.
I am God here, so yeah.
I know, but I mean, is that really me? I mean, I do rage, but not that much.
It's a murder boner.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
difference.
Clarissa, you say things.
I have nothing to contribute. I'm like, no. Yeah.
have you-
Did I play a barbarian at one point?
You did.
You
That's
did.
the one that died.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She was like
Yeah.
a water genasi barbarian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
What was
came out of
she?
the
Bath
water.
Agua.
Her name was
Bath Agua.
Bathwater, literally, a Bath Agua.
So that's the whole point of the thing. So there's Hot Daniel. Quinn's the only normal one. He's a normie. There's APOC.
He failed us. But it's
APOC.
okay.
Yeah, there's APOC. And then there's Hot Daniel. Dry Bertha.
There was Wet Stacy.
There was a Wet Stacy.
I remember
That's
you
right.
talking about Wet Stacy.
She's the one that died.
She's the one that looked like
And then there's Stacy Softball.
Yeah.
I'm old Greg.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the names of the characters. There was also
Wait,
a
the guy
half
that we
snake.
sold, didn't we?
Oh, Little Diddles.
Oh, Little Diddles, yeah.
You sold Little Diddles?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what happens when you don't show up to the sessions. We sell you to slavery.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
He fell asleep in the cart. And
I allowed
he
it,
sold the
I mean,
cart.
That's
so-
on you, Little Diddles.
Yeah. I mean, it was in line with what they were doing. Like they're
Who knows? Maybe he's living a nice life somewhere.
Yeah,
He's not.
sure. He's up at the farm.
he's up at the farm.
Up with Gronk at the farm.
We sent him up fucking upstate to the farm.
That's right. Have all the apples.
Little Diddles and Gronk are fucking eating all the apples.
I thought you say Little Diddle and Gronk are fucking.
That's the apples. That's the
They're
apples.
doing butt stuff.
They're doing butt stuff. They're in Dandy in the Bay.
Scrum, you know what I mean? You know?
And you'd be surprised who the drama one is.
Well, I mean, Little Diddles did have a keytar.
He
you
did,
know?
well, that broke because
That broke,
he's an
yeah.
idiot. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's besides the point. But yeah, so then there was also a half snake guy that we named Sim Saladin or something like that. He never got to play, but he was his whole thing was Little Diddles had a Schwam that he would play, and then Sin
this,
Saladin
yeah.
would just be there and just be like, kind of doing like the whole snake charm like thing.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really special.
Real quick, we've got some
Twitches?
people on here. Yeah, so
Some Twitches?
Jared definitely thinks he's 100% all into us filming the
Wonderful.
D&D campaign. He's very
Jared
much
knows
into
what's
it.
up. Jared knows.
A dull moment asks, "Am I on drugs or listening to people talk about D&D?"
Yes.
To that I would reply, "Can't it be both?"
Yeah, right? Can't it be both?
And SnoTrag says, "Are you excited about Antlers?"
Antlers.
And I said, double question mark, and he goes, "The movie."
I
I don't know this movie.
Is this another Kevin Smith joint similar to Tusk, or like what's going on?
Oh, that movie depresses me.
I mean, it's
I feel bad for Justin.
it's about a human walrus. So yeah.
Doug's looking it up real quick.
I'm curious.
I don't know anything about Antlers. Have you heard of Antlers?
No,
No.
I've never heard anything.
You got us. You got us stumped there, SnoTrag.
Yep.
Did you find anything on this?
It's a pretty sticky situation.
Antlers is an upcoming supernatural horror film directed by Scott Cooper and produced by Guillermo del Toro, David S. Goyer, and J. Miles Day.
Okay, so let's talk about David S. Goyer for like a real hot second.
Sure.
It feels like he's attached to every fucking movie that's coming out.
Of course.
Like that's comic book related. Like he does one good Blade movie, and all of a sudden it's like he's on attached to every comic book movie ever.
That's how it works, man.
I mean,
they're just
good for him, but it's just like
attach this to the that rising star.
Yeah.
What is it called? Antlers?
Yeah, what's this about?
It's a scary movie.
Let's just do
It's
that.
definitely
Small town
Guillermo del
teacher
Toro's
and her brother, the local sheriff, become entwined with a young student in her school who is harboring a dangerous secret with frightening consequences.
Sounds like Swim Fan.
You can't look, you just have to watch.
Oh, listen to it. Just listen to it.
Once, there were 3 bears
No.
I'm already done.
that lived in a dark and wet cave.
Okay, so there's
about
like
stuff.
an anemic boy who is reading a letter in an undershirt that's far too big on him, sitting in presumably a factory.
Is it a muumuu?
Up above a small
Oh, sorry, he's
town.
not reading a letter. He's looking at a picture, very intently.
Every day, little bear went to school,
Okay,
and at night,
He's getting
So
bullied.
he got bullied, yeah.
he'd come home after getting bullied at school.
and eat dinner.
Oh, Clarissa is not like any of this.
She doesn't like scary movies. Yeah. Stop
But to
looking.
have nightmares, it's like you
Is
can't
that,
look away. Hey, is that like Felicity?
That's Felicity.
Yeah.
And Big Bear.
I'm glad I could just see the logo at the back of Justin's laptop. It's fantastic. So
I wish I
streamlined.
could.
There's
I
a
wish I
door.
could turn this
No,
around.
that's
shining
fine.
light
I'll
on
check it out
it.
later.
Big Bear got sick, and his insides turned black.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that sounds.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, is it?
Is the kid like transforming?
No, he's there's someone else in the house. He's Little Bear, and there's a Big Bear in the house.
Oh,
And
so this is like.
he draws. Oop,
Draw was it?
there's definitely blood on the ground.
Because they had no
Smeared
food.
blood in the hallway.
Smear. That cop is not enjoying what he's seeing.
You're, like, dragging.
There's like some weird chupacabra looking thing. Like eating
Yeah,
someone.
Big Bear's just a chupacabra.
Yeah. That's essentially it.
Whoa.
What if
Oh.
he's Big Bear?
Okay, so there. No, I think that creature at the end there.
Oh, wait. Yep.
Yeah, that creature's Big Bear for sure.
Well-
and it might be a big bear. I don't know, with antlers. Who knows?
Man, bear, pig.
I'm not gonna
Confirmed.
lie to you. Wait. Oh, cool. Jared's hosting us. I don't know what that
Oh,
means, but thank
thanks,
you.
man.
Yeah.
I don't do technology. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I'd say that.
I'd probably catch it on Netflix
Yeah.
or something. I generally don't go to the theaters for scary movies.
Yeah.
It's not usually my jam.
Yeah.
I don't find them that interesting. But
Based purely off body language, I'm assuming that you're not too big of a horror flick
No.
person.
No,
No.
we went to go see it too, and she was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the last full blown scary movie I ever saw was Scream.
okay.
And that
Wow,
was it.
really?
Yeah.
Wait,
Are
Scream?
you sure? Wait,
Scream.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Didn't we see a couple scary movies before?
Wait,
after
what?
that? Didn't we see scary movies after that?
Dear God, no. Mm-mm. No, I get like nightmares. I'm just
When I watched it,
Yeah.
the first one, you were there.
yeah, my back was like
Oh,
So
to the
19,
TV and then like
1996
peeking.
is the last time you went.
Yeah, I was 6 years old. Okay, bye.
That
and
is,
that traumatized me for life.
So SnoTrag, you love horror. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've just never. Can we do a horror D&D campaign?
Yes.
Oh,
Awesome.
there's a whole podcast dedicated to that.
Is there really?
It's based around D&D. It's called The Dark Dice.
Oh yeah, that's when you
Oh, I
told me.
like
to check
that.
it out. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
That's
fascinating.
cool.
And they narrate it in a way that's very interesting. So, like, the combat, like, instead of going like, I rolled a 6, they actually, like, cut all that out and they narrate through it. It'll be like...
So they'll record all of it, and then they'll cut certain things in and out.
and they make it very dramatic with sound effects and stuff like that and sound design.
That's pretty
like
baller,
when
actually.
Shadowbane
You also
saw
did that
the
for, like, the
creature in
Halloween
the
session.
darkness.
Yeah.
He readied his sword and took a swipe but missed and fell onto his bottom. I don't know about that last part, but you know.
I'm sure that's happened sometime.
Yeah.
If not, it's gonna happen.
well, Quinn Shadowbane, in fairness, has terrible,
He's
balance.
dexterity is his weakest attribute. So there you go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. So there you go. That's interesting. I would, I'm interested in some of these things. Sometimes, like I'll like there was a what was it called? I think it was called was it The Monster or something like that?
That's super detailed.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. It was interesting because it was a unique take on it. It was obviously about a mother and a daughter, and the mother's dealing with alcoholism. There's an allegory between the monster consuming and everything like that. It was, at the end of the day, I was like, it's fine. It was okay. It was kind of curious, and like this is one where I'm like, I'm curious. There's another one I think called is it called Gretel or something? It's basically
it's the Hansel and Gretel story being
it's
retold.
got the
that
girl
one's
from It in it, and I'm like, it looks interesting.
It's all right.
There's also
it's one of those things where it's like if you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. Like the only thing you're going to do is up the scare element because it's a witch. Which actress is the one playing the actual witch? Because like
I've seen her.
I've seen her in a lot of stuff.
She was in Silent
movie
Hill.
Gretel,
I think it's called Gretel. She's done a lot of different stuff, but for me, it's like horror is more. I prefer the psychological stuff.
Yes.
I do not like torture porn.
Yeah, it's like all the Saw movies.
It's not Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, is it?
No.
Okay. No. That was the one with Jeremy Renner, and that was just. We don't speak of that.
Yeah, it's just no good.
That's basically what Hawkeye did in between Infinity War and Endgame.
It's probably not called Gretel then. It's probably called something else.
The thing for me with horror movies is it's got to be a unique premise because I've seen the slashers, I've seen the maniac hiding in the shed, and then the kids go like that's all very like. That territory's been covered for me, and some people like you could make the same argument about Avengers and like superhero movies where like most of these have been it roughly is the same thing over and over again, but for me I make the concession for that. Like for me I'm like that doesn't bother me. With horror movies I'm not into it enough for that really to like drag me, the same storyline to drag me in every time.
Right. You know? Well, like certain movies like Hereditary or like the was it Babadook or whatever it is?
The Babadook.
Babadook, yeah. Like those things are like really unique, but then you get the kind of stuff where it's like was it The Nun and like those trilogies,
The
and stuff
Conjuring,
like The Conjuring, all that stuff. It's like, okay, guys, like you're just churning this shit out
Right.
at that point. Like, it's all started with Paranormal Activity, and actually, if you want to go far enough back, it started with Blair Witch Project, which was like really groundbreaking. And then it's all of a sudden we have all these found footage movies, and it's like, okay, that's enough. Like let's stop.
Because the found footage one has been played for me.
Because it just depends. Because part of it I enjoy to a certain degree. I've seen some found footage stuff where I'm like, ooh, it's kind of cool. It's a unique thing, but it has to be done well. Yeah. Because you can see some unique. I think there's some like great jump scares and stuff you can do with that, but it's like it's got to be a unique premise. I agree. Like it's got to be something that is beyond that, and that looks interesting. Guillermo del Toro's involved, so I'm like. Probably going to have some decent effects as far as like practical stuff.
Well, I mean, he did Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like, that thing wasn't even a scary movie. It fucked with me.
Yeah.
Like
what
the whole
was
thing
that
with
again?
I
did see. Well, sort of. Yeah,
well, because that's like a fairy tale movie, but it's like
it was freaky.
weird.
Yeah.
It was an awesome movie.
It was fantastic.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Like he has such a unique spin that he puts on those
table's
films.
like, is it the table that's making that
It's
noise?
the table. Yeah, this is going to be a very my chair is very squeaky. This is just a noise-filled episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, guys.
I'm not.
This isn't.
Never am.
The noises are
damn it,
coming
Doug.
out different ways.
I've been sitting next to him for this entire time.
I would. This would be a unique enough one for me to be interested. I still don't know if I'd go to the theater.
Right. Yeah. It's not. I wouldn't pay. It didn't. The premise didn't really sound like something I'd pay a movie ticket price to go and see. Like I agree with Doug. Like if it's on Amazon Prime or like Hulu or whatever, I'd give it a look.
Yeah. That's one that Drew. Well, I mean, if Drew's still watching, he's our resident horror expert. So he can weigh in on that. But he just watched Happy Death Day.
Oh yeah,
and he said he actually liked it.
Shockingly,
really?
I've heard surprisingly good things about that movie, but I was like, I've seen Groundhog Day, I've seen Edge of Tomorrow.
For him, the thing that made it was that they said basically they had a line in there, something to the effect of what is this, Groundhog's Day?
Yeah.
So he's like they knew
they
what
were self-aware.
Like it wasn't like they were trying to pass this off as like they reinvented this. So.
I mean, that's okay to a certain degree, but if people constantly do that, it's like, okay, you're just kind of trying to ride the coattails of this other movie. And
right.
Yeah. Like, for example, the Purge movies.
I can't do the Purge
movies. Those are
movies.
freaky, too.
Well, the thing is like...
I guess I do watch scary movies.
We've had a breakthrough here.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like,
it's
sometimes
like one every, 3 years.
Yeah. She'll watch, like, the first, few minutes of it.
Force me.
Okay, I'm not doing this. But, like, for the Purge movies, like, I personally don't like... those movies because it's just like, okay, that's enough. Like, we don't need a prequel of like why we started doing this thing. Like, just have your story happen within your narrative and keep it within that world, and you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to make like how many are there on, like 6 now? Like,
Yeah,
this
something
goddamn
like
thing.
that,
It's
yeah.
like
Because they're cheap to make.
yeah, and like they'll sell tickets, which is great, but like at that point, it's like, all right, like you're just making these movies for the sake of churning out the checks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, yeah, because at some point
Part-
there's like
marketing consumerism,
There's
but
a
whatever.
financial requirement to be like, well, you have to make another one because you made X amount of dollars.
That's
and
true.
we gotta do
That's
it
the
again.
studios, yeah.
Yeah, which is always the unfortunate part with I think most horror films because they are so cheap to make most of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most expensive horror movie that's ever been made? I'm willing to bet it's under $50 million.
The most expensive, like true horror.
Yeah, do you think there's ever been a $250 million horror film that's ever been made?
Probably
No.
not, no.
There's
I'd
no,
probably say that I'd go 100 million.
there's no horror film that has an Avengers level budget.
No,
Right.
that would be
No.
ridiculous.
Right?
I mean, unless
Would
you're
it? 10 years from now, it's like, do you remember when we said it was ridiculous?
now, will there be? That's a whole different conversation.
what would you spend that money on?
Well, it would have to be a world-ending, because anything that goes with that budget is a world-ending movie. Like the Avengers is a world-ending. Like
Yeah.
the world comes to an end,
Yeah.
basically. Like you've got to have some. The stakes have to be that big.
So
And
what was that movie with James Franco and like all the celebrities and stuff like that? where it had the
This is the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, that we all know that's a comedy, but would that be considered a horror movie because of like the elements and stuff like that? Because it's about the end of the
I
world.
would say a scary,
it's-
funny movie,
Yeah.
like a scary comedy. It
So we're
wasn't-
talking
yeah.
pure horror.
I would say pure horror.
Okay,
yeah.
well then,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
I mean, there's no way. Like,
I mean, they've had zombie movies and stuff like that, like,
yeah, but again, I think
but those
they're-
are like horror thrillers in a way.
Yeah.
Like World War Z.
All right, let's see
It's
what
not
we
a
got
true
here.
pure horror movie. That's more of
Yeah.
a thriller. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I think that'd be so interesting if
Well,
you.
yeah. Now, see, yeah, like World War. So Van Helsing, they're putting
Oh,
that under
that's not horror.
They're putting that under horror. So, like, would you consider Van
that's
Helsing
an action
horror?
movie,
Right.
No,
The
I
one
would
with
see
with
that.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, that's a B action movie, like a B level action movie, and I can say that because I've seen it like 24 times.
How about World War Z? Was that a horror movie?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So,
is
again-
like,
Yeah.
if you're going to classify it as a pure horror, I wouldn't have World War Z
No,
as a
not
pure
that
horror
one.
movie because that's more of a thriller. That's more of like, okay, this is the end of the world. How are we going to fix this? Yeah, it's fucking.
There's
freaky
some
when, like, these
scary
zombies
elements
climb up
to
a
it,
thing,
so I
but-
guess it leans more in the. But when I think of.
But the
horror
zombies are
films-
used as a narrative push, though. They're used as a narrative, like kind of like vehicle to move things along.
Of course.
they're not necessarily like Michael Myers in the house
Well,
with
again,
you.
this is where we get into like the whole what is a sport? Like, what's a horror film? Like, how do you
Right.
classify that?
How about
Because
The Wolfman? Anthony Hopkins, Benicio del Toro.
I think that was technically a horror film. I think
It was a terrible film, but was
sure.
it
It
a horror
was a
film?
terrible-
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
see it. So.
I've
Because
seen it.
that
I
is
saw it in
all,
theaters.
Like it is purely about this werewolf, and it's just it's like it hits all the tropes
or
of
is it
horror.
or is it a yeah? Again, like I don't know.
That's
How
not
do you
a horror
define
movie.
a horror film? Is it
I
just-
Am Legend they have on here.
Oh, that's a load
That's
of shit.
that's
What Lies
not-
Beneath?
What lies beneath?
Oh, that's
I don't
with
remember that
I
one.
know that one. That's with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep.
Oh, that's a psychological thriller more so than a horror movie.
Again, how man? This is a whole
Like
new-
Fear, Hollow Man, Prometheus, The Haunting. The Haunting, I would say, is.
I'd
The
say
Haunting
Pro-
is, and The
That's-
Haunting was
That's
uh,
$80 million.
Well, that's not that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that the one with Liam Neeson in it? Wasn't
yes.
Liam Neeson? Yeah.
Yep.
So-
Catherine Zeta-Jones, Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson.
Oh
So
God, that's
the
a
budget-
terrible movie.
It is, but well,
It received 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
80 million?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably for the
Still
CG.
managed to gross more than 170 worldwide.
Wow.
Sleepy Hollow, Hannibal, Alien Resurrection.
Hannibal's scary.
Yeah.
Virus.
But
But
that's
again, I wouldn't say Hannibal's a horror movie. To
It's a
me,
thriller.
not. Yeah.
it's a third. Well,
And then what's the difference between like a thriller and like?
Well, let's break this
horror
down.
film.
Well,
Let's take a second to break this
A lot
down.
of
All right, yeah.
whiteboard. It's like-
There's a lot of whiteboard.
there's a lot of whiteboard.
Event Horizon, The Relics.
Event Horizon's
Signs.
100% a horror film, sci-fi horror.
Because you're watching it.
That movie is fucked up.
Yeah.
What's that
no,
one
Horizon.
movie
That
where
was
it's like
60 mil.
some evil leprechaun that like eats people?
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Oh, there you go.
Leprechaun 4,
That one
Leprechauns
freaks
in the
me out
Hood.
too.
Which is my favorite one in the series.
Not Leprechaun in Space.
No.
Gremlins. Deep
That,
Blue Sea,
that one's that's kind of like the
Signs.
Freddy vs. Jason thing, where it's like, okay,
Yeah, what is the difference between a thriller
It's a good.
and a horror?
my opinion, I mean, it's probably all shit.
I feel like a
Horror movie, it's consistent with the scares. Like you're constantly scared. You're always wondering. You're always fearful for the main character's life, even though you know that the main character they're gonna, especially if they're like a top build star, you know they're gonna survive. I mean, there's been a few
Or
movies where they
are
haven't. There's been a few movies where they haven't, where like I think Hostel, what's his face doesn't actually survive, but he's not a top billed actor, but you know what I'm saying. And thrillers are more of like, oh, this is a really tense situation, and then it's gone, and then you have more narrative kind of thing. Because there's a Johnny Depp movie that you can consider horror. It's called Ninth Gate.
Oh, Ninth Gate.
Yeah,
Never heard
but
of that.
I actually really like it. It's
And I
really
like
cool.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, well, this was pre Jack Sparrow, so he wasn't. Yeah, that's
I
when
like
you know.
Johnny Depp and like
No, I'm just saying.
chocolates or
I
something.
fucking like Johnny Depp.
Right.
I fucking like chocolate.
I fucking like chocolate.
You fuck.
God, chaotic dick. But like in that movie, he's searching for these pages to, I think, like the Satan's Bible or something, like the Black Bible or something like that.
Wait, hold on, pause. Edward Scissorhands, isn't that him too?
Yes, that is him.
See,
Right.
sorry. Just
I was
making
like,
my
that is
point.
not a
That's
horror
not a
film.
horror movie.
No,
That's
it's not. No, it's not.
Think again,
Just
asshole.
He's got
saying.
scissor
That's how much
hands.
I
I love
mean,
Johnny Depp.
how does he pee? That's the horror aspect.
Right.
Yeah.
Chaotic dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No dick at
Right.
this point. 'cause
That's
it's
when the
stiff.
split dick comes
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
You want a vasectomy?
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
God.
Yeah.
What do you think, Clarissa? What do you think is a horror versus
I
a
feel
thriller?
like a horror is going to play on your.
Drew, I'm sorry. Drew, I said, he goes, according to Google, The Wolfman is the most expensive horror movie, followed by I Am Legend. I said, but what is a horror movie? He goes, anything deemed to be so by the studio and or producers.
Fuck off.
There's a door. Yeah.
Just turn it off.
That's
you guys
it.
don't
Stream
know
over.
Drew. That is a very Drew Dole response.
Oh, it's a very Drew response. That's
And
why I love it.
That's also why I love him too.
Yes.
One of the things I'd love to do with Drew is I would like to torture him in his own way, in my own way, which is like
So,
you know,
so you don't like seeing torture, but you like inflicting the torture.
of course, 100%. And one of the things I'd be like, dude, because he loves baseball. I don't know why, but he loves baseball. And I'd be like, what if they change the rules so that you can actually throw the ball and hit someone that gets him out? So you have a whole.
Oh, that's not how you
new-
play the game?
You have a whole new aspect.
I've
You
been
have-
supporting wrong my entire life.
I call them like stingers or something like that. Oh, here comes the stinger. This guy's known for just like blasting people. But you take a risk because if
His
you
kneecap
don't,
just comes out.
because if you don't hit him, you're throwing the ball away. They can take bases. And I go, well, wouldn't that be cool? He goes, it doesn't matter because it doesn't exist. I'm like, but what if it did? He goes,
But it
he's basically
does.
like, I'm not going to waste brain energy on this because it's not possible. And I was like, well, don't you want to have fun? He's like, get
In
out of my
2020.
office.
Get out of my office. He'd kick you out of his office.
Yeah.
So what you were going to say, what was your definition of a horror movie?
I would say something that plays on your fears or phobias.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like.
I thought you were going to say that's on this channel, that plays on this channel during this time of year. I'm like, what? Like the
Right-
Chills channel?
Right.
Anything that
Ghost
Planet
Adventures.
Epics from October through November.
It was like, what's a sport? If it's on ESPN, it's a sport. I'm
Right.
like, the spelling bee? They're like, yeah.
Yep.
Anything that's real, like sunshine. Well, I don't know what you guys believe it or not.
What's
but
real?
This cup. No. So like spirits and ghosts, like I believe in them. I don't know if anyone does, but
It's okay.
like, I think it's real. And so for it to kind of, it's a fear of mine because I don't want to be like possessed by some weird spirit. But
So do you?
but yeah, like something that plays on like your phobias or fears, and like I think that is like a horror.
Right.
Or like you can be murdered. Someone can easily kidnap you and murder you in real life. So, and then the thriller is more so like suspenseful. I don't know. Like what's the butterfly effect or what's with
Yeah.
the Ashton?
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like that's more like a safer thriller.
Oh, man. This is the whole new what is a sport?
I know.
How do you define a horror film?
That is why I don't watch these things. I'm like, oh, I'm afraid of everything.
So Drew chimed in with a non-Dullian answer. He said, "I think the difference is in the names themselves. Thrillers are meant to thrill and excite, while horror is meant to scare and horrify you."
I think that is a very great description.
Being possessed
Yeah.
horrifies me.
There you go. So then, in that case, is a horror
Going
movie
through a cemetery.
subjective? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's constant things where people are like, what's that movie with Sandra Bullock that was wholly...
Speed,
No, that was like
The
panned
Proposal,
really bad. She won a Razzie for it.
Miscongeniality,
That's
Oh,
not
that's the
it.
best movie ever.
It's like all about...
that bass,
no
something
trouble.
about Mary,
Nope, that's not her.
Sideways,
Meet the
Anyways,
Fockers.
no. You guys are terrible at this game.
Goodfellas.
Train Spotting, Ben-Hur.
Moulin Rouge.
Not all about Bob. That's not it.
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
Well, it's basically it's a comedy that's about her following this guy that she's infatuated with, And people are like, "This is
Is this a Lifetime movie?
What about, yeah,
Is that
I
like
know
the
what you're
lake
talking
house
What about
thing?
Steve?
Yep,
No?
what about
Oh.
Steve?
What about Steve?
Never
It's
mind.
like this is a
Okay,
horror
nope.
film,
No
not
idea.
a comedy.
So we were
That's-
close when we said, "What about Bob?"
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Ben-Hur.
Yeah,
Ben-Hur was second. Yeah.
But
love
yes,
it.
that could be. One could look at that and go, "That's fucking terrifying." That's a horror film.
exactly.
Yeah.
To some people, you can watch it and be like, "Oh, I think this is more scary than it is anything."
I mean, but
else."
if you do
Stalking
that,
someone?
then Spider-Man could be scary to someone who doesn't want to get bit by a spider because of the one scene.
Sure.
Or like, hey, Batman's scared
Accurate.
because they're afraid of getting robbed in an alley.
Well, isn't he afraid of bats, Batman? Isn't that like?
In one telling of it,
Oh, well,
not all of them.
just saying.
yeah. Well, so, I mean,
You got very angry about that.
Let's
In
not.
one fucking telling.
We just saw the
He's very
Joker.
passionate
Let's
about
not go
Batman.
there.
did you see the Joker?
She
I
did not.
I didn't think
because
so.
I thought it was scary.
It was a horror movie.
Yeah, right.
Joaquin Phoenix
it's
laughing
too
like
close
that
to
was
home. I feel like I
fucking
don't know.
unnerving, man.
By the way, real quick, while we're on that topic, have you guys seen the recuts of the Joker laughing, but with different people laughing?
No.
They have done one with Seth Rogen.
Oh my
laughing
God.
with the Joker, and I about shit my pants the other day.
Really?
He's
Because
walking
there's all the
by,
hair.
I was like,
Oh my god! Is it the scene where he's walking in the hallway with the
Yes.
shirt on? I have. Okay.
Yes,
I need.
we have
Send
to
me
find
this
that.
link.
And it's also they had Peter Griffin.
Oh my god!
I would watch the Joker
It
if it
was
was Peter Griffin's laugh the whole
so
time.
fucking funny. I was like, God damn it, I love the internet.
That's
those
great.
are those moments
That's
where
so
it's like
great.
someone goes, you know what'd be great? We'll just change the laugh.
It's so simple too because it's just
Yes.
that one. It's a quick like what
It's
2 or 3
4
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah,
There
4
it is.
second long clip.
It's so good.
All right, I got it queued up for after the episode.
I was like, play it right
Nice.
now.
You wanna play it right
Yeah,
now?
play it right
All
now.
right, we'll play it right
yeah,
now.
it's
Frank's hidden voice is great.
Oh my god, it's just so fucking good.
I'm prepared.
It's iPhone season! Fucking ads.
Oh my god, guys!
Oh, this is an unskippable one. Guys, we are hearing all about Sprint's iPhone deals. $0 per month. And you trade an iPhone 7 or newer in any condition.
Twitch doesn't have
Right.
that issue where like. Oh my god!
That was good.
We just got to the one laugh and that's it. We're done.
Hold on,
We're
hold on.
broken.
Look. So fucking good. The Seth Rogen one is
That
the
one-
hands down.
That
the
has
best
to be.
one.
yeah.
Oh my god, that is hysterical.
It's the best.
Holy shit.
That was good.
That has to
Yeah.
be a pineapple. He was in Pineapple Express, right?
He was the Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
That has to be a Pineapple Express.
I
laugh.
mean, it could be.
That has to be.
Any of
That could
his
be any of his movies.
All of his laughs
Yeah.
sound like
Yeah.
that.
Or
so-
just an interview.
Zack and Miri
you know?
make a porno.
Yes, exactly.
That's great.
So
We
fun.
gotta- I gotta
Thank
watch
you
it
for
later.
getting because I was like I was laughing so hard at that
Yeah.
the other day. I was like, oh, I gotta make sure to share this.
Thanks
So
for
good.
sharing that.
No, that
Yeah,
was good. I went
absolutely.
quiet there for a second, like laughing so hard. No sound came out.
Those are the good ones.
Those are the good ones.
Snarag has another interesting question too. It's still on the movies and the genre
Yes.
thing. What movies do you pay to see in the theater?
Well, that's a
a
great
good question.
What movies will you go and pay for? Because there are definitely movies that I will not. Typically, by and large, I won't go and pay for a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's just that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like it
The horror movie, yeah.
is the only one that it would be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to.
That
see
was definitely
I
worth
didn't,
it.
but I would have.
I generally don't go to comedies.
Yeah.
I don't. I lump kind of comedy and horror in the same thing where I think it's subjective.
Right.
People are like, you gotta go see this movie. It's so fucking scary, or it's so fucking funny. I'm like, yeah, but what
Yeah.
do you like? When
Yeah.
what's
Right.
funny to you and
Right.
what's
Right.
scary to you? It's two very different things. So I generally will wait for those because
Generally is a good because there
Yeah.
are some comedies that come out where
Yeah.
they'll come out and I'll be like, yeah, this I'm gonna go see this one because either it's a director I like, it's a writer I like, it's like all the actors, it's like based off the trailer you're like, well, this is a topic that I can get into. There's
Yeah.
certain things where you're like, yeah, okay, I can dig that, but
Right.
by and large, it's comedies can be. I thought the Happy Time Murders was gonna be hysterical.
Was it though? Because like it looks great when it like. And here's the thing: I love Melissa McCarthy, but sometimes her shit's hit or miss.
Sure, absolutely.
So
Love
like,
her.
like what was the movie she did with
I
Sandra Bullock?
stand
Was it Hot
Melissa
Something?
McCarthy enough like
Oh, it
that.
was
Hot Tub Time Machine.
No,
what's the one?
Well,
Ben
not Hot
Hur.
Fuzz.
Hot or not?
Ben Hur. That was the one.
Hot or not?
Oh.
Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy.
I might be totally wrong with the title.
No, you're right. It's
Hot
the
something.
Heat.
The Heat.
Yeah.
Close enough.
It was hot.
Ben Hur.
It was hot.
Yeah. Like that movie was okay, but again, it was them playing off each other. We're like,
Yeah.
in this one, I was like, I can see the premise. I really like the whole idea of it, but I didn't hear very many great things. And when it finally came out on Blu-ray, it's like, oh, this movie came out, cool.
Yeah.
Which usually signals to me where it's like, hey, this movie's out. We're only putting it on Blu-ray because we have to, because it's part of the contract from the movie or something like that.
It was one of those where there was a lot of great bits in it, and a lot of the great bits were in the trailer, and it was like the concepts are really funny. Like we saw Felt at I.O. right, improv with puppets. There are things you can do with puppets and you can get away with that you can't get away with like just people, you know.
Right.
And it's this had that possibility. It just didn't. It didn't deliver. It was watchable. I had it on in the background while I was doing stuff.
But see, that's the thing, though.
You know what I mean? Like
you're passively listening to it, which already tells me I'm not going to enjoy it.
Exactly. Yes.
I'd love for that to be the quote on the poster. I had it on the background while I was doing stuff.
And just same to you though. Like
3 out of 5
I love
stars.
Melissa McCarthy. I think she's
stuff.
fantastic. But I was just like, this one's a miss for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's obvious like what we don't go to see, but what would get you to the theater? To go back to,
I mean, for me, it depends on like I'm along with Justin about this. Like, if the director, like hearing about the Antlers, or whatever the hell it was called, and Guillermo del Toro is attached to it, it's like, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Let me see if the trailer's all right, because the director will get me in, it'll pique my interest, but then it's also, okay, is the content worth me spending the money on?
So like Pokemon was worth spending.
Yes, because Ryan Reynolds,
Okay.
he's a national goddamn treasure, along with America's ass. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
And also because I like Pokemon. I don't care. But like, those kinds of things. It has to be something that the director intrigues me, and then the content of the trailer has to be good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would go the same way.
I mean, like for example, we just saw it, but it's Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay.
I don't care about cars, but I'll go see that movie because it has Matt Damon. It has.
Fucking nerds.
Now edit that out of the podcast. Yeah.
I'm gonna amplify it just to piss all y'all off.
Just add a beat to it. Yeah.
Slow motion.
Where was I going? Ford versus Ferrari. But I would want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Just because it looks intriguing.
Sure.
But that's not something I would normally go see.
Because you liked the actors that were in it.
And the actors in it,
yeah.
and the director, stuff like that. So
What
that's
about
what
you?
You guys gonna hate me. I like comedies.
No, I don't hate
I'm
you.
like the odd one out. No, any of the Marvel, DC stuff. Any of the.
Let's not
Or is it
enrage the
Disney
like three
Network?
fans here.
Oh, okay.
Like
What?
we don't say all the DC stuff. Suicide Squad is exempt from this, and
We
so
did
is-
see that, though.
We did, but we didn't go to the theater to see it.
We did though.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Did we see it? I don't recall.
Uh-oh, now he's not so
You
sure.
blacked out for a minute, yeah.
I probably did. It's
I'm
Suicide
pretty
Squad. Like, let's be
sure-
honest.
I'm pretty sure we saw that one. But
Theater?
and then any of the like Disney rewrites, so like Maleficent.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
a little darker story.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I like
This
those.
new one's got Michelle Pfeiffer in it. She's the bad guy. Great.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
So any like Disneys that have been twisted to be a little darker and spookier.
Okay.
Like the Lion
Not
King
horror,
reboot.
but yeah.
Did you see that one in the
I did.
Did it come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Came out
one?
there. Yeah. The Lion King, the live action one.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of questioning
He,
Seth
like,
Rogen as
almost cried.
Pumbaa.
Yeah.
I did cry. I'm not
did.
gonna. I will admit that to the internet.
He
I did
like-
cry.
Yeah. That's fair,
Fellow
man.
Miss-
I mean, come on, man. Like
Yeah.
when James Earl Jones looks up at Scar, and Scar's like, "Ha, bitch!" It's like right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I dig it.
Lip
man.
quivering.
I took my daughter to see it. We had a good time. She enjoyed it. I was like, this is maybe the most unnecessary
cry?
movie ever made. But,
Yeah. That's
You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was fine, but I was just like, yeah, this didn't need to be made. You know, enjoyable, entertaining. But I
Again,
was like,
I would argue any movie need to be made.
I mean, some of them do. Yes.
Like the most unnecessary movie is probably like that emoji movie.
Oh, that's
That was like
100%.
pointless.
I think we needed that movie. as a
That's gonna be one of those
society.
movies that you go back years from now, and we're gonna pull it up and be like, "Whoa, this was so date and time stamped." As like,
Oh, it is.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
one of those things where you're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa!" It's kind of like watching a movie, and they're like, "We have to fax this thing." You're like, "I don't understand."
Or the
Oh, this is-
plugging in MySpace or like Facebook or
Yeah,
something like
they're
that.
like, "We have to get on MySpace."
Let's put this on Vine. Oh, you dated your movie.
Or they're like,
yeah.
you know, it's like watching Silence of the Lambs, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm going around and doing all these things to find this killer." It's like, why don't you use it? You know, obviously it wasn't there at the
Right.
time, but it's like it's less scary because you're like, oh, so that was a time when that didn't exist,
Right.
But you know, you
Well,
kinda
so
put
many
some-
old movies now would be, if they had a cell phone, it'd be, the movie would have 3 minutes.
My
The
favorite,
Negotiator, for example.
Right, exactly.
The cell phone. Hello.
or the movie. What was it? Phone
This is
Booth. Phone Booth with Colin Farrell.
Right.
Jeez.
Right.
He said the-
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
saw that.
He's
Yeah.
like
It's an entire movie with him.
Yeah.
In a phone booth.
Which people are
Come
like,
to find
what
out,
is this? Is this a TARDIS? Like, I don't get it.
TARDIS.
First of all,
It's a tart,
they're
all
blue.
right.
I'm playing now.
She's going to
Don't do
lay
it.
it down.
Don't
Going down
pull
to
out the Doctor Who. route. And to answer everyone's question that they're going to say, David Tennant.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tennant.
I mean,
with Matt Smith a very close second.
Matt Smith is.
I love David Tennant in general. Like,
Yeah.
Well, because for me, like when I go to see, if I'm going to go to a movie, it's like it's director possibly. I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm curious.
Right.
And then actors, like who's in it. Like
Yeah.
the Joker. When I heard the Joker was announced, I'm like zero interest in seeing this movie. Don't give a shit. Whatever. And then I was like, well, Joaquin's in it. I'm like, okay, you got my interest. He's he's a very
And
great
he did
actor.
a fantastic job.
And then I saw the trailer and I'm like, okay, you got my interests. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this. And then I got more and more interested. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go to the movie. I'm going to see it because this seems very, very interesting. So a lot of it is based around director, actor, and then is there a good trailer with it? Because there's been a lot of movies where I'm like, fuck, I see a trailer.
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
much the same way, yeah.
nope, I'm out. No, thank you. But yeah, I think a lot of that stuff will probably get me to the theater.
Yeah.
So what example would you have of a trailer that you saw you were like, nope, I'm done. And you can't say any of the DC movies.
No, well, because those are easy.
Yeah.
Those are really, really
Those are
easy.
toss-ups.
What's one I saw where I was like, yeah, hard. I mean, Fast and Furious. Those are easy ones where I'm like, nope, this one's not for me.
The Queen's Corgi?
Breakthrough. That one's
Queen's Corgi.
Yeah, that's
a deep
bad.
That's a deep cut.
But I mean, also those were ones that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to see this movie anyway. I never
You
would have
would.
seen it.
Romeo and Juliet.
There was never on like let's wait for the trailer. We'll see. I might want
Yeah.
to go see it. I don't know.
I was like, no. I'm trying to think of what one that I was like curious in, and that well, there's one that I went to regardless of what was going to happen, which was the Dark Tower.
Oh,
Yep.
Before Drew moved away, he and I went to go see it, and I was
Would you
like,
guys go together?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah?
And I went and saw it, and it was like, I'm like,
How
I
cute.
know this is going to be bad, but I just have to see it because I love the Dark Tower so much. I love Idris Elba. I love.
He's fantastic, yeah.
Oh, shit.
What?
No,
Idris
keep
Elba.
going. there was a FaceTime call that came in and it knocked our thing off.
Oh.
Yeah, fuck it.
I was like, do you want to start it again?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry.
Fucking FaceTime. But it was one of those movies that was just so disappointing. It's
Yeah.
like this had such potential, had such great actors, and they were like, hey, we're Sony, and we like fucking everyone's world up, so here you go. Here's
Well,
the movie.
so to go based off of like all the Stephen King stuff and whatnot, have you seen the trailer for Doctor Sleep?
Yes.
Sleep. I don't think I. Wait, have I?
It's got
Ewan McGregor in
McGregor
it. He's playing the kid from The Shining.
Yeah.
Yes, that looks fantastic.
That looks real good.
That I will go pay to see, and that's a horror movie.
Okay. So you're saying flat out,
I would pay to see that.
but you're saying flat out that's a horror movie.
Well,
Your
it's about
category.
it's from The Shining, so yes.
Sure. Rom-com.
Do you? Never mind. You win this round. That's 2 for you, Justin. That's all you're gonna get.
All I have to do is be stubborn. I like this.
Yeah. It works out pretty
I
well.
can do that.
And that is how all the decisions are made.
Stubbornness. Just a
I'm
little
just
bit
like,
stubborn.
no.
I need another bottle. Tip it over. Where do we go from there?
Wherever we want. Such an evil one.
Give me that dice. Let me roll.
Roll it. Roll 20.
Roll for topic.
Roll for topic.
If you had seen if The Shining had been in the theaters when you were of age to see it, is that one do you think you would have gone and seen?
Yes.
Jack
Based
Nicholson,
off
yeah.
the trailer, just because of Jack Nicholson.
I guess I haven't seen the trailer for it.
Oh,
so.
I thought you.
The trailers.
Before we
The
watched-
trailer has the elevators opening with all that blood spilling out. That would have gotten me right
And
then
you've just
and
been
there.
like, "What the fuck is that?" Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's not how elevators work. I'm intrigued. Let's go.
I know elevators.
I know my elevators.
And that's not
They
how
go
they
up.
work.
They go down. That's it. Yeah.
God damn.
You don't get no goddamn blood.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a horror movie that would really draw me in. It'd have to be something that was just sort of. I kind of like. I'm in your camp, Clarissa. Like I like seeing reimagining of different things. Like the idea of Hansel and Gretel, like as a horror film. I like the idea of it. I don't think I would go see the movie, but I like
Right.
taking something like that and just putting another spin on it. There's a comic book series called Fable.
Oh, yeah,
Fables
I've
out there
heard them, yeah.
that are awesome, and
great.
it reimagines what these fairy tale creatures would be like and characters if they were in the real world. And that the way that one plays out, essentially, they come over to the real world to escape an army of evil creatures. And so you've got like the big bad wolf, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Snow White, all these characters living in New York. And it's like, they talk about themselves and from the past and everything like that. And it's such a unique take on who these characters are and what you know about them, because it's like what I've always said. I'm like, I would love to have met Achilles from back in the day and be like, what's that guy really like?
Right.
Are these stories, do these stories really add up to who this person is? Or are they more just like super exaggerations where it's like, he was pretty fast. He
wasn't even ripped at all. He was like super gangly and stuff like that. It's like,
hey guys. It's like,
I'm gonna kill you now.
And it's like what he actually won was like card games or some shit. He didn't actually, but it's like they take
that
it
is
and,
fucked up.
Like just a reimagining of all that sort of stuff. I think is so much fun to do, just to see like what the new take on it is. So I'm always fascinated.
That's okay.
I
I
love stuff like that. It's sort of why I started watching American Gods.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I read the book.
It's all of the.
The show is nuts.
It's gory for sure. And
it's
kind
super
of
graphic.
Really
too.
graphic, but but it's along the same lines. Yeah, all the gods in this earth, and you're like walking next to.
And that's got
Odin,
a lot of really
and
good.
He's some like old guy who like no one really believes in anymore,
Right,
and he's trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really
The
interesting.
Neil Gaiman, who
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's also like The Sandman. You and I read that. Have you read The Sandman at all? You
I
guys?
No, I didn't.
You guys
Fantastic.
should like it. It's really good.
Oh, so good. But there's a part where Lucifer basically is like, I'm done watching hell. Someone else can have the key. And he gives it to this guy called Dream. He's the ruler of dreams. And essentially, like, he's like, I don't want the key. So all of these gods essentially come to appeal to him to basically be like, give us the key to hell. So there's like the god of order, god of chaos. You've got Odin and Thor and Loki who show up. You've got these Japanese gods. You've got Egyptian gods. And they're all portrayed... And it's like that's one of my favorite issues.
Yeah,
because also
and that's just one of the, that's a sub story though. Like
really?
It's like an anthology series. So like each issue is a different follow the dream and the next thing. And it's
really kind of a through line, but there's a lot of distinct.
There is,
And the thing I love about that one is Lucifer's not necessarily a bad guy. He just runs hell. And his favorite part is
that's just his lot in life.
Right, we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
the show Lucifer is essentially the exact.
It's based on that character.
Oh, okay.
Because in that the whole thing is like he gives up and he goes to the real world.
Yes,
and he just lives there.
Isn't Neil Gaiman a producer or an EP on Lucifer?
He probably is.
I think he is.
It's based on the character that they created.
Yeah.
And that character essentially like he gives up. He's like, I don't want to run hell anymore. And my favorite part is he's basically like opening up. He's like, everyone get out. He's like getting everyone out of hell.
Get the fuck out.
And there's this one guy that's like, no, I was bad. I need to suffer. And he goes, no, you don't. You want to suffer. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not punishing you. You're punishing yourself. And the guy's like, oh shit. And then he realizes that because Lucifer's like, I don't punish these people. They come down here and think that they deserve it, so they punish themselves. He's like, I don't have anything to do with this. I just run the joint. He's like, I don't want to be here.
Self-inflicted punishment.
That's why I like the show Lucifer, because it explains like all of that. It's just a different perception of it, and it's awesome. Yeah.
I love those reimagining or those just sort of like different takes on these things that you classically know. Like, it's crazy. I never saw it, but the idea is like,
it's gonna love my book.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. How insane is that? The idea
that was a great.
One of our great presidents who also hunted vampires.
Right.
It's
one of those they took a risk on that, and that could have failed spectacularly,
off,
but it didn't. Like it's amazing how they just they're like, you know what, we're gonna swing for the fences on this one.
It's kind of like cracking open the myth of like George Washington. Everyone's like George Washington. The guy was kind of a fuck up,
right?
If you go back, he got really lucky. He didn't want to do anything, but they're like, this is the guy that's gonna catapult us through. But he's like, not really good at what he does. Probably why he only did 2 terms.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm stepping down. I don't want to do this. Like,
I'm done.
So the idea of like taking that and sort of being like, what really happened, and sort of like cracking that open, I think is fascinating.
There was my other favorite issue of the Sandman was the one where Dream stepped into. He went back to like the Roman gladiator times,
right?
Yeah, and he was put in charge basically. Like
that one was
the
really
Emperor
cool.
of Rome stepped down. And he was put in charge.
Yes,
and he was the one who actually like put all the gladiators together and would then do the matchups. Now, the title of that issue is escaping me.
Throwdown! It's the Throwdown!
I told you. That's great.
Do we
I
get
was
you on
waiting
that?
for it. I'm like, come on. Say the thing. Do it. Do the thing. Do it.
Touch my butt. All right, so today's throwdown, I think, will be a fun one, and you have to because there's going to be one way that you want to go at this, and you can't go at it that way. You've got to think a little bit more abstractly. So
How dare you put me no boxer? You're not my real dad. You can't tell me what to do.
you don't know that we haven't. Our 23andMe has not come back yet.
This is true.
So this week, since we've all seen it and we all like it, did you see it or not? I don't know.
Joker?
Yeah.
No, she
Okay.
didn't see it.
No.
You've seen
That's
the trailer.
okay. I can just like support from over here.
You've seen the trailer.
I have not seen the trailer.
We're doing.
Yes, you did.
Tell me you haven't. You know, if you live with him, you've seen
I
the
haven't
trailer.
seen the trailer.
I showed you the trailer.
Bro.
Oh, bruh. Do we need to pull it up?
Wait,
I will
did
die
you?
on this hill.
No,
Yes,
it wasn't
I-
me.
yes, I did.
It was your sister.
No, you were there. I'm like,
Well,
look at this. Joaquin
my
Phoenix is
mind
in
trying to
there.
preserve myself. I just blocked it out.
That's
Yeah.
terrible. We shared a moment and you wanted to block it out.
Yes.
Done.
Here you go. It'll come back to me.
I think I was wondering what Justin was. He was like, oh shit.
No, I want to do Heath Ledger's Joker versus Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And again, this is not based on performance. I want to make that explicitly clear to everyone listening. Stay off the fucking boards. It is not based on performance. It is based on if the two of them were to meet in real life.
Their interpretations of the Joker.
Who would walk out on top and who would be left out in the street?
Ledger.
Heath Ledger, hands down, would win.
Oh, would I was
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah,
just
he'd
said
win.
Heath Ledger. I'm like, that's not.
No, Ledger would win.
Okay,
Yeah.
why?
Well, because Doug can go ahead and.
Okay, well, Heath Ledger's depiction of the Joker, that is a fully realized Joker.
Yep.
That is a guy that's fully understands and can manipulate people and is purely there for the sake of chaos. Whereas Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, that guy, I don't believe for a second that guy can plan anything.
He kind of fell into being the Joker.
So let me ask you this then: do you think that in that movie they are positing that the Joker is a fuck up, or because they are setting this guy up to be, he's supposed to be this criminal mastermind. He is the agent of chaos. Do you think that is not what they're setting this Joker up to be? Obviously, hopefully they're not going to do any more, but
Right.
In that universe, this character lives on, and
He eventually becomes the Heath Ledger Joker. Yes.
So you think that he figures it out?
In the movie itself. There's natural evolution that they hint at. Like for example, when he goes ahead and spoilers if you haven't seen it, it's already been how many weeks or whatnot. But 2 weeks. Spoilers, bitches. This is it. He ends up killing those 3 Wall Street guys. He runs. Fight or flight kicks in. He runs away. And then goes into that park bathroom and then does this dance. Mm-hmm. That's him coming from a caterpillar stage into the pupa stage, or however the hell it's pronounced.
Yeah.
After I forgot what it is that he does where he becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
And he kills off Randall, his buddy, and he does the dance right before, or actually when he does the dance when he's dyeing his hair, that's him becoming the butterfly.
Okay.
Essentially, he's accepting that role.
Okay.
Because both times where he's killed someone, he's been wearing the clown makeup.
Okay.
And he's had that face on.
Right.
Now he realizes this is who I am. This is who I am naturally. This is who I am organically. This is what I need to go ahead and do. So he finds his way through into his role in life, and he accepts it because at the end, car crash, he gets pulled out of the cop car, put on the hood, and he stands on top of it and then does his dance again.
Right.
That's him accepting he's the Joker.
So do you concur with this?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to expand your line
What about
of
you,
thinking a
Clarissa?
little
Do you concur?
I do.
bit. Who would you say off the top of your head?
Honestly, I don't know. Probably Heath Ledger as well. I just like who.
disappoint me.
No, okay. Joaquin. I mean,
Thank you.
what's the
See, now we have a debate going. Yeah, rumble, throw down. Well, no. So I'm going to ask you to kind of expand your way of thinking a little bit and fully realize who he's becoming, because I think that he is truly more of a agent of chaos than Heath Ledger's Joker is. I think he really lets things just fucking fall, and he from what we've seen and where he's going, there is no plan. And I think with Heath Ledger, there was a meticulous plan, and I think that's one of the things that
Does he really look like a guy with a plan?
There it is. So
I was waiting for something to drop.
well
I'm like,
done.
someone do it.
You've seen the movie, Doug. Yeah, I think that was one. I've heard people talk about like giving a very critical look at Chris Nolan's Batman trilogy, but they were saying one thing about the Joker is that the thing he doesn't do that he is always known for in the 75 years prior is he's never like. Yes, he lays out these plans, but he really like just fucking like suckles off the tea to chaos, you know. And like I see more Joaquin. I see more of that in Joaquin.
Got a real strong visual when he said that.
I would say that Heath Ledger's Joker fully understands chaos and he fully understands people to the point where he can play to his environment way better. And I feel like because he understands chaos more, and I feel like that gives.
Can you understand chaos?
There's an order to chaos, and I think that's what Heath Ledger's Joker operates out of.
Okay,
like you. The way that Heath Ledger's Joker kind of manipulates the chaos is one thing has to happen for this to happen, for then this to happen. You can argue that's the meticulous way of doing it, but if you look at how he does like the attacks from that like medical van or something like that in the tunnel and stuff like that, he's like, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll use these guns. If that doesn't work, I'll have something bigger for it. But just the sheer glee that he has when he blows up the Batmobile, I think that wasn't something that he had planned because he knows like, hey, the Batmobile's pretty armored. Let's see if this works. And when it worked, it was like, oh, hey, that fucking worked. Cool. Let's keep going with it. So you can argue he has a meticulous plan for it, but that's because of the order out of that chaos.
Okay.
And that's the whole reason why he goes and he targets, what's his face?
Harvey
Dent. Yeah. That's the reason he targets him because he originally thought he was Batman, but when he found out he wasn't Batman, it's like, hey, there's the chaos in action. Now you have not only me to contend with, but now this new like game piece on the board.
Sure.
Not to mention, physically, we see more out of Heath Ledger's Joker than we do out of Joaquin's. Okay. Obviously, because, I mean, there's a part at the end where he's just going ham on Batman with a pipe and knives and stuff like that. And we see him do his pencil trick. We see him, he's surprisingly, physical.
But at the end, you do see Joaquin has come into it. He kills his therapist. He chases down the orderly. The orderly's chasing him.
Allegedly.
Turns it around.
Allegedly.
Okay.
I'm going to pull the lawyer card here and be allegedly. Because then you can also go to the other side of the coin of, it's all, in his mind, which I think is another bullshit thing we talked about. True. But I'm saying I think he's getting that physicality at the end. So right.
And again, now we have been talking a lot about like the performance aspect of it.
Not really.
Again, this is if the two of them were fucking face to face, they hadn't planned on meeting each other because you're saying that Heath Ledger's is a meticulous planner. They didn't plan on this. They rounded the corner on each other.
My whole thing about this now, though, is you're pulling a Looper scenario of where it's like Bruce Willis going against Joseph Gordon-Levitt, kind of thing. It's like, well, they're the same person.
Okay.
So it's like
you've never heard of throwdowns, obviously.
No, I
because that means jack shit.
I know. I'm just like my mind is going that route where it's like, okay, well, I'm getting way too granular, way too broad strokes.
Farty.
That one. Back to the butt stuff.
It's all about the butt stuff.
Is that the name of your book?
Really
Back to the
here.
butt stuff?
That's what really matters.
The butt stuff?
Yes.
That's true. I lost my train of thought, so that's fine.
Nice.
that happens a lot.
It does.
You're saying I'm pitting the two of them against each other. It's the same person.
I think, again, and I usually base this a lot of what we've seen, right?
Yes.
And in what we've seen in The Dark Knight, the Joker has more physical prowess and capability than in Joker. In Joker, we see him, obviously, he shoots people with guns, but I don't see anything like like if they were to bump into each other, I would...
Well, hold on.
So,
he beats the guy's head he stabs him with the pencil, beats his head in the door.
There's that physicality.
He smothers his mother.
Yeah.
So he has no problem just in the fucking hospital.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
But that's him. Okay, so then
he also sticks his fingers in young Bruce Wayne's mouth.
Yep.
Which was super unnerving because of that music. Like, Jesus Christ, it got to me. But, if we're going based off the physicality and stuff like that and getting the drop on him, then I would have to now flip my thing over to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Because getting the drop on someone like that, like, he got the drop on Randall with those scissors right in the eye and freaked the fuck out of the little
But he
dude.
knew he was going to do that.
Right. Joker knew he was going to do
Yeah.
that. Like, that's a planned thing. So now we're going back to the meticulous planning part of it. Because
Yeah.
in that scene, he goes and he hears someone knocking at the door, gets upset, grabs his scissors because he knows he's going to fuck somebody up. Someone went ahead and interrupted his time, and he's like, I'm going to murder this motherfucker. Regardless of who it is. It just happened to be the guy who gave him the gun in the beginning. That was the catalyst for the entire story. So it makes sense.
I didn't think he was going to murder someone regardless. I think he wanted to. I think he probably
talking about the
anticipated it might have been
Joker
the
here.
cops, or something like that. I don't think he was like, I'm going to kill whoever's at the front of this door. I think he just
You don't just grab scissors for no reason. When someone
he
knocks at
grabbed
your
it because
door.
he anticipated danger.
Because he wanted to kill the motherfucker that interrupted him.
Because he knew there was danger.
Right.
If it would have been the lady down the hall, do you think he would have killed her? No.
I mean, I'm convinced she doesn't actually exist.
That's also.
So if that's his thought process, then I would say Ledger. Because I feel like
Yeah.
if he came across someone, he'd just be like, nah, I'm the real Joker.
Yeah.
And like, bam.
Well, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Versus the other Joker would be
Nah,
like, hey, you're
that's
kind of
true.
like me. Maybe you're not dangerous.
Yes. He'd be like, is this real?
yes.
I don't know what reality is. He doesn't know anything like that. So he would hesitate, and then he.
Well,
That's a
Heath
good point.
Ledger's already
Yeah.
like fully in his mind. Like he already knows who he is.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you're
you
comparing
already
your past
slipped.
self
You
to
can't
your
come
future
back.
self.
No, you're.
Whatever.
Step, get the fuck out. I as much as I wanted to have someone argue me into the Joaquin Phoenix camp, I do think I have to go with the Heath Ledger.
Ledger.
I do.
So
think
do we have a
he's-
unanimous decision? Is that what we're saying?
No,
here?
you're Joaquin.
No, fuck
and
that.
then we're Ledgers.
I don't want to be left out.
So
FOMO.
so we won, and you lost. Okay, so we're saying Heath Ledger for the win. And we could do another real quick one because I feel bad that you weren't able to jump into that.
no,
But you know what?
I'm
Your
good.
Your character versus Hot Dave.
I'm good.
Hot Daniel.
Hot
Hot
Daniel.
Daniel.
It was Dave.
I was like, who is
Oh,
Dave?
There's
you
something
know
about
who
Dave.
Hot Dave is.
Oh, probably Hot Daniel.
Because
No.
you're Bash.
Yeah.
No.
You got your thorn whip.
I do.
He's got the
but
penis missiles,
he
but
has like missiles.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, but they're penises.
you're
Right.
a druid. You can shapeshift, can't you?
Yes.
oh, I can.
You have
I
two-
did in
yeah.
the last one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you
No?
didn't. No,
Yeah,
you
I-
haven't shapeshifted
I
yet.
shapeshifted into like a. Didn't I?
No.
I must have jumped it.
You wanted to.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it.
I do have
You could
spells,
have.
but I'm like
Could have, yes.
limited in my spells, and he.
So is he. He's a wizard.
Don't they have more access though too?
He's a necro wizard, right?
He's a necromancer, yes.
Yes.
Do we have the same amount of slots?
He probably has
That's a
a
weird question. What is this game? I'm interested again.
What sort of bits do we have?
How many slots do I have?
bits and bobs.
I just feel like his spells do more damage.
Are there enough
But-
slots for the finger penis gun?
Here's the thing. What can you shapeshift into?
She can shapeshift into a lot of things like
an
wolves.
elf.
You could
an
you could
elf.
close the distance then,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
attack of opportunity. And then what good is it if you're going to be all up in his face?
That's the thing is that he's squishy. You're not.
Yeah.
Like you're a caster, but you have a little bit more health than he does.
Versatile.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Because we purposely made your Constitution score higher so that way. Well, I'm getting too into it, but
Yeah, you can't get too into it. Okay.
you know how it is. We start talking about D&D, and I just get a
know.
murder
Character's
boner.
name's Bash.
Yeah.
Bash?
Basharat.
Booyakasha! So
I win.
excellent,
You were an official throwdown winner.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Emilio, Clarissa. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and it took a wonderful turn down horror lane, which I loved. I didn't realize we were going around it. That was so
Great.
good. So this is the part of the show where we kick it over to you guys. If you have anything you want to recommend, if you guys are working on anything you want to promote, please by all means shout it out. If you want people to follow you, whatever you want to do, now's your chance.
Yeah. On I think it's on Twitter and on Instagram. Meester E, Meester. You'll probably end up seeing my face on there. As far as something I want to promote, the Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Fantastic book.
What's it about?
It's essentially about this bartender who, in this high fantasy setting where he used to be a former like adventurer kind of guy, and he kind of just wants to live the quiet life and do his thing with his inn. And he has this guy come in whose name is Chronicler, who wants to tell a story, and he knows his actual name. So they actually close down the bar, and basically he tells his old story from his perspective, his narrative. So it kind of cycles back and forth between him being an adult and him being a kid in this. He started with nothing. He was like a gypsy. His family got murdered by these like demonic things, and then he ended up being an orphan. Ended up gathering enough money to actually.
Well, don't spoil the
attend.
goddamn book. Man.
I'm giving you Cliff Notes.
Those are not Cliff Notes.
You're on everything.
No, there's a lot more stuff in between. But he basically goes to a university. So I finished the first book. It's a 3-part series, I think. So the first one's Name of the Wind. The second one is
I got good
Quiet
grades at
Medicine.
school.
no.
Third one is the debt wasn't worth it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, damn. That's a whole nother narrative. But yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Nice. How about you, Clarissa?
If we're going on the book trail,
We don't have to.
But you can. It's your call.
Roll for books.
I actually just finished reading a book called Flowers, but Flaws. Instead of flowers, yes.
That's
by
a pretty
Billy
good book.
Chapta. Really makes you think about how you view other people's flaws.
Oh,
and
cool.
just seeing them as something.
That you can just rub in their face.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
actual flowers?
No, just seeing them as something more
terrible
positive
Cooper.
than like being annoyed by someone like chewing loudly or something.
Which
but
is one of her
no.
things.
I have a problem.
No.
It's like,
The thing is,
I'm going home now. That's it. Never coming back again. No, but that was a really good book just to make you kind of appreciate other people's flaws and your own flaws.
nice.
Not being so hard on yourself. And then if we're going about socials, Life of Claire. That's my Insta.
Nice.
Yep, do a lot of makeup tutorials and just life updates there.
Very cool.
Very similar
There
to
you go.
Doug's, yeah.
Yeah, very much
Lots
so.
of makeup tutorials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we should do that live stream doing Doug's makeup.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's powder my head.
Hashtag
That's
please.
a lot of foundation.
Make it look less shiny.
They have stuff for that.
There's stuff for that.
Oh, I know. It's called a hat. Justin, what do you got
Just the
going on?
top, just like wipe it off.
It's called napkins.
I'm reading a book about the Duplass brothers called Like Brothers. It's really cool if you're into filmmaking or if you like any of their movies or anything they've been in. Check it out. Really cool. It's each chapter is a little short essay, either about their advice for the film industry or something they've experienced together as brothers that's
that's
been
cool.
odd. So called Like Brothers, and then as always, check out Schitt's Creek and Fleabag.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
Schitt's Creek is
we
the
started
best.
the
Right?
5th season
love it.
yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
So good.
It's great.
You're gonna cry at the end.
No,
I doubt it.
what?
You're gonna cry at the
Chris
end.
is like, oh, God, no, why?
You can't tell her that because then now we're gonna go home and stay up for hours watching
Man,
the
I cry for like any little thing. Okay.
Oh,
She
you'll
does.
definitely cry. You might.
Yeah.
Well, you cried the movie, right? The other movie.
It was
The
Lion
Lion
King.
King.
Yeah.
You'll cry with your wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug.
I read a comic called Harbinger. It's from Valiant Comics. Basically about some kids that have psychic powers. And it's pretty interesting.
Give us some second
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it very much so. So I recommend it. I checked it out from the library.
Oh,
So
look at you.
pew, 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 pew,
I gotta look at our
pew.
libraries by our house and see if they have stuff.
They have good stuff. Lots of comics. I love it.
Libraries.
Recommend it.
We usually go to half price books.
That too.
That place is just a black hole for
You
me.
can also go to poop.com for half price off all your books. It's a good place to go.
That's true.
Yep.
Use promo code MindGapPodcast when you check out.
Yeah, and you
There
get
you go.
free shipping.
Yep.
Thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks
This
for
has been
having
an
us.
absolute pleasure. Guys, don't forget you can watch Mind Gap on Twitch, most likely every Tuesday. That's usually when we do it.
Unless Sam Cooke does a FaceTime.
I was just
He's in
saying,
the
I
middle
was-
of it and knocks the fucking feed out. Thanks, Sam.
The fucking feed.
The fucking feed.
Twitch.com/MindGap Podcast. We're also on all social medias at MindGap Podcast. You can also check out our channel on YouTube to find all of these episodes and more, which is always exciting. And Justin exists in the digital realm.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on
Spotify.
and on Google Podcast, anywhere where podcasts are sold. You can subscribe to us, rate us, review us, share us around. That's the big one. We like when you share us.
Yeah.
Because sharing is caring. And we like butt stuff. And then check out 2east8th.com/mindgap and 2east8th in general. Things are coming along with Sid Penrose. We've got music is getting done, and in about a month, Drew and I will begin filming on our next short.
Excellent.
So there's that.
very
It's called The
exciting.
Life and Debt of a Liberal Arts Major.
That's a good one.
Damn.
Rolls right off the tongue. I like it. And by the way, I read the script. It's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Emilio, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Clarissa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Justin, thank you so much.
Douglas, thank you.
Twitch, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you so much. And we will see you next week.
Mind Gap Podcast.